The non-stop flight to Seattle. And the power of the Lord was with Jesus to heal the sick. Some men came carrying a paralyzed man on a mat and tried to take him into the house to lay him before Jesus. When they could not find a way to do this because of the crowd, they went up on the roof and lowered him on his mat through the tiles into the middle of the crowd right in front of Jesus. Jesus said to the paralyzed man, "I tell you, get up, take your mat, and go home." Immediately he stood up in front of them, took what he had been lying on, and went home praising God. Luke 5, verses 17b through 19, and 24b through 25. My husband and I were so excited to fly to Seattle. My seat was in the third row, next to a delightful elderly lady who was extremely hard of hearing. About 2 hours into the flight, a flight attendant asked that anyone with a medical background report to the front galley. I nervously looked around, hoping that someone with more up-to-date skills than mine would respond. I was relieved to see a couple get up immediately and go to the galley. I knew by the frenzy of activity that whatever was happening was truly a medical emergency. The emergency bag was opened, an oxygen tank was removed from an overhead bin, and the flight attendant looked very worried. I left my seat to ask the other flight attendant what I could do to help. She told me a passenger with a peanut allergy had gone into immediate respiratory shutdown when another passenger opened a bag of peanuts. The two medical volunteers were a doctor and a nurse anesthetist. After we landed, I would find out that they worked in my own CHI organization. I could see them doing compressions using a respirator bag and trying to keep the patient's airway open. Something happens to healthcare professionals in a medical emergency. You can't not help. It's not work, it's a calling. Watching that nurse and doctor, I better understood that I don't work for an industry or a company, but a ministry. Everyone on that plane was willing their fellow passenger to heal, but that would only happen through the dedication of those two medical professionals. The plane began to descend rapidly. The pilot announced that we would make an emergency landing in Billings, Montana. As the patient was loaded onto a waiting ambulance, she raised a hand and gave a thumbs up to the couple that had kept her alive for more than 45 minutes. The flight attendants were overcome with emotion. The couple hugged, and the entire plane broke out in applause. Everyone shared a collective, sacred moment of gratitude. Well, almost everyone. As I sat back down, my hard-of-hearing elderly seatmate said to me, "Are we in Seattle? It was so fast. I love this nonstop flight." Denise McNitt, CHI Health, Mercy Hospital, Council Bluffs, Iowa.